next meeting, Board of Education, Dixon Unit School District 170, Wednesday, October 15th, 2025, for our regular meeting. Roll call.
Mr. Fritz?
Here.
Mrs. Gates?
Here.
Mrs. LeBlanc Parks?
Here.
Mr. Rogers?
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer? Mr. Wadsworth?
Here.
Mrs. Wagner?
Here. We'd like the young authors to lead us in the pledge tonight, and their principal.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I need a motion that the board approve the consent agenda, which consists tonight of the regular meeting and special meeting minutes from the past, DPS and LCSEA treasurer's report and monthly bills, the balance sheet and monthly expense report, the discipline report, staff development report, the monthly website and social media activity, and building reports that are in your packet. Do I have a motion? Thank you.
Second.
There is nothing new or unusual in this month's consent agenda, so my recommendation is to approve as written.
Are there any questions or comments? Roll call.
Mr. Fritz?
Aye.
Mrs. Gates?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBlanc Parks?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Aye.
Mrs. Wagner?
Aye. We have special presentations tonight.
Do have a few. I'm going to call up Mr. Sagal, and he has a young authors recognition for tonight.
Great. Anyone here for young authors? You guys can come on up. Don't be shy.
I'm right up here, so everybody
December 25.
right up in
They're
there.
right around here.
Yep, right
Yeah.
over here. And wrap around the border.
Why don't you go back by Mr. Sable?
Parents, if you want pictures, come on up. Right over here by Mr. Manley, get the best pictures.
All right, you're all gonna try to get situated and look toward us, and you can give us a nice smile. I'd like to get your pictures here. All right, you guys all smiling? Looking nice? Looking good? Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you to parents so much for getting them here tonight. Like we love showing them off. These are really some of our best and brightest. Each year, kindergarten through 8th grade students can submit original works for our Young Authors book. So they do lots of different categories, lots of different genres of writing, and then they go through a judging process, and then the best of the best who are chosen, and then they're honored in the fall, and they each receive a copy of their published books, and those go around to our school libraries. They go around to some places in the community, really show off just the great kids and the great things that they're doing here within Dixon Public Schools. So we have cover art is by our students. Everything that goes into the book is through the hard work of the students, and their teachers, and supporting them. So if you guys would, could each of you say your name and your grade level that you're here tonight? Corey, you can start.
I'm Corey and I'm in 6th grade. I'm Nora Coots, I'm also in 6th grade. I'm Cam, I'm in 6th grade. I'm Eugene, I'm in 6th grade. I'm Malachi, I'm in 6th grade. I'm Island, I'm in 6th grade. I'm Delilah and I'm in 5th grade. I'm Adam and I'm in 3rd grade.
Wow.
Any questions about Young Authors? We sure appreciate the district continuing to support this program. It's a great thing for our kids, and like I said, great way to show off the awesome things that our kids are doing. So
Nice job, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Sagal. I always love the books. I love that we can see the years past on here. You know, these used to be paper, what the kids would turn in, and you really revolutionized it and really honor the hard work that our writers do. So,
It's beautiful, yeah.
yeah.
It really is.
So it looks like you sixth graders really dominated this. I'm looking through your fifth graders. What is it about this sixth grade class that makes you guys so, I know you. That's right. What is it about all you sixth graders or fifth graders last year that you're special somehow, I guess?
Apparently, we're all very passionate in our writing.
Sounds like it. That's wonderful.
Probably some future students of the month up here that we'll hear about in a minute.
I think so. Cool.
Did you think you were gonna win? And did anybody think they were gonna win? Why did you write? Why do you write?
I like writing.
You like it?
It clears my mind when I write.
Good answer.
I've always just loved writing. I write in a diary every single night, and it just really calms me. And also, I can express all of my feelings to one writing.
Wonderful.
I just like making stories because it's fun. Because I like to make a little bit goofy stories, and it's fun to just like let that all out into one book.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I like writing because I can put all my thoughts into one good story.
I like writing because I can make up whatever I want into one big story.
I like writing because I like expressing my feelings. I like writing, I just love it. I don't really have a reason. It's just fun.
Very good. Do you read your stories to other kids, like brothers and sisters or anything?
Yeah.
Do you? Sometimes.
I love stories now.
Sometimes.
How do you come up with the titles to your books, to your stories?
I just think of main ideas and think of something that is catchy.
That's good.
Something catchy that'll really bring a reader, you know, like, oh, this sounds interesting. I want to read this.
Does the story come first or does the title come first?
For me, the story comes first.
Yeah.
The story comes first.
Like that idea of what you want it to be about. Yeah, for me, I usually pick out the title and then I'm like, so this is what the story's going to be about. I take time to write and think about the title.
Oh, very good minds.
I love the one called "This Is Not a Good Book." I do too. Talk about catching of like, well, I have to see if it is or not.
That's the first story I read. It's quite fun.
Well, thank you all for coming, and thank your parents for coming and giving
We'd love for you to stay, but we also know there's homework and other things going on, so.
If you'd like to sneak out, now's your cue. Thank you.
While they're going out, Mr. Rogers, can I have you hit the lights and we'll get ready to see our Reagan Student of the Month in a minute. And next we have Reagan Student of the Month.
Good evening. I'm Kylie Downey, Assistant Principal at Reagan Middle School. It is my honor tonight to recognize Fiona Kelly and Kiefer Hoon as our October Students of the Month. Fiona and Kiefer are both outstanding examples of what it means to be involved, responsible, and kind leaders at our school. Between choir, band, student council, and builders club, they dedicate their time and talents to making our school a better place every day. They consistently show up with positive attitudes, help others, and put forth their best effort in everything they do. Whether they're performing on stage, organizing events, or volunteering their time, Fiona and Kiefer lead by example and make a lasting impact to those around them. Congratulations, Fiona and Kiefer. Thank you for representing RMS in such a positive way.
Hi, my name is Fiona Kelly. I'm in 8th grade, and the activities I'm involved in at RMS are Student Council, Builders Club, Cross Country, FCA, Track, and Band. My favorite teacher at RMS is Mrs. McNitt because she's always just so kind, and she was like, even if she was having a bad day, you would not be able to tell. She was not going to let that ruin our day by being in bad mood, and just being around her always made you feel so happy, and after being in her class, I knew I was going to have a good day. And just, I would not only be excited to walk into her class because of the things that we were learning, but also because just being around her made me so happy, and I was always just so excited to walk into her class every day. And yeah. Some of my greatest accomplishments have definitely been getting this award, because I'm very proud of myself for this. I honestly was not expecting to get this award, but I'm very proud of myself for this, and I know a bunch of other people are proud of me too. And another one of my greatest accomplishments has been getting to ILMEA in 6th grade. If you don't know what ILMEA is, it's kind of like how most sports have, like, you can make it into state. This is like making it into state for band, and obviously it's very challenging to get into state for things. And it was very challenging, especially since I was in 6th grade, and there was barely any 6th graders there. Honestly, there was probably like 4 or 5, and most of the kids were in 7th and 8th grade. It was very challenging. If I could change a school rule, I think I would have to change, I think all the school rules are actually really good. I really like them, but one rule I would change would have to be reading and win, because we already do read in ELA, and I just feel like it's not necessary to read and win on certain days. And also because I'm busy after school, and I know a lot of other people are too. And if you have homework due the next day and you can't do it at home because you're busy, and the only time to do it is when, but you're reading that day, then you wouldn't have time to do your homework unless, like, there's 5 minutes left at the end of the class period. So I just feel like that's not really, like, needed in when. I don't know, that's just what I think. And I don't really have any ideas for any future clubs at RMS. I am involved in most of them, though, and I really do like them. And I would give advice to an incoming 6th grader, just be yourself, make sure that you are involved in a lot of activities and a lot of clubs, and just try and make new friends, make sure you're just nice to everybody, because a lot of people like nice people, and yeah.
Hello, it's Kiefer Hood, and I got selected for October Student of the Month. Yeah, so by the way, I'm at a football game. It's currently like around 7 where I'm recording now. I'm in 8th grade.
Some inside school activities include choir, Builders Club, and student council. And for my outside activities outside of school include video games if I have time, so I get to enjoy that, and then schoolwork if I need to get anything done. Multiple good teachers in RMS, but when it has to come down to one in my experience, it would probably be Mrs. Abel, because she had like the biggest impact on my RMS career, and she's just really kind, and she's like good at teaching, and from my experience she's just really understanding, and I don't see anything wrong. If it's one thing to change about the school policies or the rules, it probably has to be the way, like, the amount of time spent on lunches, because I think people need breaks, and like the school day spans a long time, and students are just sitting there just doing work in general. So I think the students need more lunchtime. Some proudest moments in my life probably include the feeling of success or just the feeling of hopefulness, because I felt like my work was accounted for that, and like it's probably just a motivator in my life. If I could choose to make a new school club, I would probably make guys or boys volleyball, because I always wanted to play volleyball and I was always interested in volleyball. Like it's probably my favorite sport, and I just feel like and potentially people will want to play volleyball. So if I were able to give any advice to any sixth grader, I'd probably just say to keep their head up and to work hard on themselves and their academics, because the hard moments in life, I think, is where a lot of people struggle with, and just a privilege in general, because some people just don't even get a chance to feel that moment and just to apply themselves.
Anybody wants to come up for photos, please do.
All right, can you guys smile for us? All right, thank you.
Don't take it.
Okay.
That was just for pictures.
To have a speech prepared or a song if you want. You ready to sing a song? No? All right. What questions do you have for them?
Well, that was pretty creative, you know. You like to do that kind of thing? You did well.
I agree with you on lunch. I wish we had more time to give you for lunch. I think that's a really popular one through all the grades.
Yeah.
What kind of things make you successful, do you think?
Well, I think to become successful, I think you should have the mindset too.
Pardon me?
The mindset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Very good.
I just study a lot and
So yours is kind of a mindset too, right? Just staying in a good, healthy space and being determined to get your stuff done and listening and working hard.
Do you think you always had that mindset, or did it just come to you?
I think I didn't always have that mindset in elementary, but I feel like it developed over time.
Mm-hmm.
As each grade goes.
So, how about you?
well, I didn't really when I was younger, I didn't really pay attention to my grades because now I have a thing that I can check my grades on, so I can stay on top of stuff that I need to.
That helps. Okay. Anything else?
What are you most excited about high school?
Marching band.
Okay.
Very good.
I would say probably just exploring new things.
Excellent.
Congratulations to both of you.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Again, we realize that you have homework and lives and different things, so we'd love for you to stay, but if you want to go, that's okay too. Next month, we will have both October and November Student of the Month for the high school, Mr. Shanger. This one coming a little earlier, they needed a little more time, so. Next up, we have Mrs. Bork with our DEA Teachers of the Month.
Hello. All right, I think our teachers were a little overwhelmed with conferences. This month we only have 12, but I know there's a lot more teachers that are worthy of this recognition. But for our 12 for this month, we have Mackenzie Shipman from Washington, Candace Bikema from Jefferson, Lisa Hoyle from Jefferson, Addie Pace from RMS, Alicia Weigel from RMS, Eric Ferguson from RMS had 2 votes, Renee Metzler had 3 from RMS, Candy Lind had 1, Amanda Sawyer, Lynn Longan, Bridget Becker, all from RMS, and 1 from DHS, Katie Cox, and she's our winner of our gift card. It says, Katie is a passionate teacher. She engages with her students and truly cares about them. Katie consistently shows up and is prepared. She builds strong relationships with her students. She definitely creates a supportive classroom. It's just one example of many of our great teachers. Thank you. Thank you.
We have no one signed up, I don't believe. A couple of things I mentioned, or want to mention. We had Sandra McCune was a longtime teacher's aide in the district, 25 years. I remember her probably when my kids were in school. She passed away the end of September, so I just wanted to recognize her, and we're thankful for people that have given the district their lives, really. So I want to mention that. She still has a couple of granddaughters in Dixon. We received correspondence from Angie Orkison about trunk or treat, but we are all involved as far as the board doing it, and we are all involved with superintendent interviews next week on that night. Because it starts at the same time. It's from 5 to 6:30. But Superintendent Thumpin has decided she's going to dress up and go.
Well, I'm going to go.
I just thought I would throw
No,
that
I
in,
actually we found a little something, so I'll make sure I take a picture so y'all know.
I know you like that, and we know you'll do that, John. And this was at our places last month, and I just wanted to say what a great program I think Impact is, and how successful it's become in Dixon. And these students can volunteer hours, sign up for this, and end up going for 2 years, going to school for free and not having all that college debt. And so it's just a win-win for the students, their families, and our community. When you look at the number of hours, there's 266 nonprofits who profit from these volunteers. I know that several nonprofits that I have been involved in really count on these students. We used to try to get people, adults, to volunteer, and a lot of them are senior citizens that do volunteering in town. But it's so nice to see these young people coming forth and doing this kind of work. We have 1,454 students registered for the 24-25 school year in the area. 85% of impact students persisted all the way through the plan. We, it also develops volunteers for the future. It's just good for communities. We have some stats from our own high school, which are pretty impressive. Margot and I were talking about this, that we've had 11,000 hours completed by Dixon students, over 11,000 hours. And the class of 26 has 29% participation. The class of 29 is showing a 42% participation. So I think the message is really getting out there, and the students realize, and their families realize, what a good deal this is for them to join the program. So sometimes we have these things sitting here, but then we read them later, when we get home. So I thought I needed to say that. Otherwise, we can move on to action items. Anybody else have anything to share? There's kind of not a place really built in for board comments, but correspondence or citizens' agenda is always a place where you can make comments too. So I need a motion that the board approve the insurance renewal for fiscal year 26 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
As presented to you last month, we will have an 8.5% increase in our health insurance premiums. We answer any questions that you may have.
Just to clarify again, that 8.5% increase, is that what the participants pay, like the teachers and?
No, so that is the premium total that is shared between the employee contribution and the school district's payment. The portion that the employees pay is based upon their contracts.
Okay, so that's not changing, it's just.
Well, no, it does. For example, DEA's is based on a percentage.
Okay.
So as the premium cost goes up, the amount that an employee pays goes up.
Okay.
In accordance with that percentage.
Got it.
Other comments or questions? Roll call.
Mrs. Gates?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBlanc Parks?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Aye.
Mr. Fritz?
Aye.
Mrs. Wagner?
Aye. I need a motion that the board approve the second reading of the board policies as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Just as a reminder, last month we had the first reading. As I reminded you at that time, the uniqueness of this last time was it was all just kind of 5-year reviews. And basically the updates were making sure that any footnotes that had the laws or the legislation passed were updated. So my recommendation, and I have not heard anything from the DEA or DESPA with any concerns. So my recommendation is that we approve these and they become board policy.
Any questions? Roll call.
Mrs. LeBlanc Parks?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Aye.
Mr. Fritz?
Aye.
Mrs. Gates?
Aye.
Mrs. Wagner?
Aye. We need a motion that the board approve the Music First curriculum at RMS as given.
So moved.
Second.
So we have a little bit of a presentation here tonight. Our music teachers are always trying to find the best possible experiences, their learning experience for our students, and they've been piloting Music First since last March, I do believe. And I'm going to have Ashley and Chris come on up here now. And they're going to talk to you a little bit about Music First, which would be a significant addition to what we currently do in our music program at the middle school. It incorporates technology, which helps differentiate the instruction for students quite a bit more. And they can tell you a lot more about this. I do know one thing. Last year, they predicted that there would be 150 students that would need this, and we're now at 196 students in the middle school program, so we're growing there. So that's good stuff. So I think they have a PowerPoint that they're going to project up behind you as well, and I'll just let Ashley and Chris take over.
All right, well, I'm Chris Hansen. I mainly teach 5th and 6th grade band, and then I have 2 sections of beginner ensembles.
And I'm Ashley, and I don't have much of a voice, so I'm going to kind of take up a back seat right now. I'll pop in when I can. I teach 6th through 8th grade choir and 7th and 8th grade band.
I was going to say, I'm not coming in and intending to talk over her the whole time.
Just physically
we made
cannot.
an agreement that she's going to be the clicker person.
Yeah.
So basically, Music First, a bunch of music educators got together and created an online platform that kind of is similar to other online or software-based curriculums that are coming out for music teachers to use. The actual title, they call it, is the Music First Classroom, so it kind of mirrors what we see when we're like on Canvas and something like that, just with the music software built into it. What we'd be looking at, there are 4 different softwares that are built into that, all in the same program that we can assign from. So it allows us the ability to use those 4 main areas to provide a comprehensive music education for our kids at the middle school. It is not like, it's not the end-all be-all of this is the only thing that we'd use. We would use it as a tool to help out with the things that we're already doing. So this is kind of small, but this is kind of what we can see. When we go in there, they call them all tasks. So anytime we assign the kids to do anything on there, kind of a nice thing as far as aligning with standards, they have it aligned not only with our Illinois arts standards, but they've also added in some cross-curricular things in there, and also the national arts standards for music that are all approved. And this in here, as we're creating assignments for easy tracking on our end of things to make sure we're covering all of these standards, we can click, okay, this assignment is working this area, and so on. And then we can find a little printout at any time and see, okay, where are we kind of lacking, and what do we need to add a little bit more of or find some more of. Benefits for our students, we were able, as was stated, we were able to use this for basically 2 months of spring and then the first month and a half of this school year before our pilot trial ended. And these are the things that we found, kind of 3 main bullet points. Individualized instruction was a huge one. In particular, I work mostly with band. The kids do not all play the same instrument, which means the skills that they're all working on are not the same. But in here, I can take the same assignment and I can change it and alter it slightly to match the needs of different instruments. Also, students with their own specific needs, things can be very easily altered on there without us having to create a full alternative assignment, things like that. And they can also go and mess with some of the settings to find some of those things on their own too for growth skills and things like that. The second one, we really like, it kind of puts the students in charge of what they are doing. So we can assign all the stuff in the world, and that's fine, but also it gives them a computer-based platform that they're familiar with. We had one student that was using one of the ones that I was kind of testing out, which was a lot of vocab practice, just a lot of repetition. And she said, similar to...
It was similar to Freckle.
Yeah, she said really similar to Freckle,
So
which
it's
she
the
really
therapies
liked.
they're
I've heard a
used
lot of kids that are like, oh, Freckle, but so it's similar built to the stuff they're already using. She was like, I love that. But there's a program called Practice First, where the students can go in, they can play and hear what it's supposed to sound like, at least the computerized version of it. They can go and click at different spots. If they're confused about something, click and open, it'll identify it for them. So when they're working on their own, when we happen to not be there on a certain day, we can do an assignment through there.
Or when you can't talk.
When you can't talk. But also, we've been kind of talking as we have these grade level ensembles, and we have students that are, okay, they're in 8th grade, they've been doing this for 4 years now, and they're all 8th graders. We're looking for opportunities to kind of develop our leaders from within. This is a chance where we could say, hey, we're going to have somebody lead sectionals. They can use this to help them out. Because, of course, we want them to be leaders, but that doesn't mean that they are professionals that know exactly what they're supposed to be listening for. And finally, accessibility, as we said, offers opportunities for the students to use it in sectionals. When we have subs, if we just want them, hey, work on this on your own, the program will show them, instead of them just playing and hope for the best, and hey, I did it 3 times and I'm done, it'll show them exactly the quality that they did and the specific spots that need more attention.
My 8th grade band that I piloted this with was able to use it with a sub last Monday.
All right, so this is some data that I collected. I kind of gave the bullet point version of all of it in here. So what I chose to work with, I was using these 2 programs that work with music theory and oral skills. They're called Musician and Aurelia. The students were given a good old-fashioned written pre-test and post-test that was essentially covering vocab that a 6th grader who's been in band before should know, 6th or 7th grader, and common musical symbols that they will see. So I worked this with both of my beginner classes, so they've never seen any of it because they are from square one completely. And so you see, of course, the pre-test average, as we would expect, 22% correct as a class on identifying those symbols and knowing what they mean. And then I used the program really just for 2 days. I made an assignment on there that this was the one they said was kind of like Freckle. It was kind of drilling some of the vocab. They see it. On the first day, that's my midpoint 1 that you see. The first day, the program allows, hey, you get 1 retry. If you get it wrong, you can try again and see if you get it right. We had an average of 86% correct. I think I had them do 30 total questions. The second day, we made it harder, so it was the same material, but we took away the retry. That was them learning and adding it on. Their percentage increased. And on the post-test, where they did a written test again, they were up to 81% correct. That was with, honestly, very little teaching. It was just a lot of using the program to drill the vocab.
Okay, so this is data that I used with one of the platforms called Sight Reading Factory. So sight reading in terms of band and choir. So this is going to be used in the choir classroom, but we're only allowed 50 seats for the trial. So I have too many kids in choir, which is a great problem. I couldn't use it in a choir class. So for a band example, this is an 8th grade band student that is a saxophone player, and they see on their end what they got correct. It's a green dot on the note head. It's a perfect score. On a level 2, this is exactly what I expect from an 8th grader. It should be a perfect score. 100%. Awesome. This student, however, does not have a perfect score. There's red, there's X's, which means they did not play the note correctly. And then there's red where like they played the incorrect note and they didn't play it in time. They're assessed 2 different ways. They're assessed on pitch and then they're assessed on timing. And then we can adjust the assessment. So I did an auto assessment, but when I go back, I also listen to them as well. I don't 100% trust a computer, so I also listen to it as a human. And we can adjust those settings on our end. This person has a 75% as their score, but we can I can go in and I would not give this student a 75. I would probably round it up to an 80 on my end, depending on the skill that I would be assessing there. So a level 2 as an 8th grader though, I expect that should be at least 90% accuracy. So same class, another saxophone player, this student has a 56% accuracy. This is all in the same class. I have 3 very different levels that I have to teach all the same kids. And another great thing about this program, I had no idea. I had 3 kids that I expect to be at the same level, 100% level 2, but they're not. So now this is going to give us a little bit more data and accessibility. Be like, hey, now I know that my kids are not where they should be, and where I'm going to have to go in and do a little bit more work and some intervention with these students. Because this student scored a 56 on here, and after listening to it, that was pretty accurate, about 56%. This is another feature, which is called Practice First. So Practice First would be like a music example where sight reading, they see it for the first time and they play it or they sing it. So this assignment, we can edit it absolutely completely. We can put a goal for we only want them to get 80% accuracy. We only want them to get 75% accuracy. They can play it with a metronome. They can play it with a backing track, whatever. They score it out of 5 stars. And then they see the wonderful thing is they have it in color. So the green is good. The yellow is okay, and they can put their cursor over, and I showed you an example. So it says wrong note C in the beginning. They started as the wrong note, and then they adjusted the pitch as the time went on. The red is absolutely wrong, but they can put their cursor over and see absolutely every single thing that they did incorrectly, which is so darn cool. Because it's one thing when they perform for me in the current playing test format that I have now, they put a video into Canvas and I give them comments. Well, then they go back and they're like, okay, Ms. Malquist said I played a wrong note C in measure 2.
Don't look at the comments.
Right. But this is so stinking accurate to down to the exact point that, I mean, I can tell them that, but this is just so, you can't argue that.
And also they get this instant, let's say we say you have 5 tries to turn this in.
Yeah.
The first try, they get this score instantly, and they go, and I tell the kids, if you have multiple attempts, record it once, and then go find your reds and see why it's red. And they can see that right away, and then they can adjust before it gets to us, and we hear the final thing.
Yeah.
Discussing costs, it would fluctuate from year to year. Obviously, we're still hoping to continue growing, at least a little. maybe a lot. And so they charge per seat, so that's per student, $14 per user per year. We do have a lot of students. I think we figured out that if you count all band and choir students, we have closer to like 225 or something like that. But they don't charge you. They don't charge you if a kid is in choir and band, which we have several of those. They just count as one, and that includes basically their basic package, the Music First classroom, which is where everything is housed. Aurelia for your training. Flat is for if we ever do any kind of composition projects, they can do some composing on the computer. We talked about musician, that's for a lot of vocab stuff. Practice First is what you were seeing with the greens, and they can see their music. And sight reading, which is a skill where they have to develop. Produce is a brand new thing for them to look at, and they give them 30 seconds to check it out, and then they have to play it and see how well they can do on a first read.
So what's the whole point here? Hopefully we gave you enough of a snapshot of what this is really going to encompass and what this is going to do for our students and our program. It's one thing for us to be like, yeah, it's going to be easy for us when we have a sub. But, really, like, just the data, being able to argue what we're able to accomplish in a smaller amount of time, what we're going to be able to perform, and what this is going to look like for our students, and what they're going to be able to accomplish long term and even short term. We would love to keep started here this year, and then eventually move it up to the high school level would be ideal. So yeah, you have anything else? So thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Cool. If I could just say a couple of things. As far as a student being able to reflect on their own work like that, that's huge, because when you have a couple of music teachers with 196 students and have to listen to every one of them and identify every note that they have wrong, that's like an impossible task. And this is one of those things that allows an intervention for students that's just going to help them get better, help them be more confident musicians. So that's great. And then when they presented to the committee there last week, they talked about how much easier it is for subs to actually do this. And when I was in a building, the class that I dreaded to have to sub in most was a music class. It scared me a lot, because I'm not real familiar with that. But this, they were sharing how anyone could come in and sub and actually not miss a day's worth of learning for the kids. So I think they did a great job in finding a tool that's going to help our kids along.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great to find other applications for the Chromebooks. Something like that probably wouldn't be possible if we didn't already have the one-to-one.
I think that's wonderful. I just feel so deficient in that area. I'm so glad there's people that understand it and can teach it. It's so valuable for kids to learn that. But thank you.
information items. We have to vote on it.
Oh, vote, sorry.
We have the motion
Oh,
by Mrs. Parks and Mr. Rogers to the
All
second,
right.
so we just have to vote.
All right. Any
Mr.
other
Rogers?
questions? Roll call.
Mr. Rogers?
Oh, aye.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Aye.
Mr. Fritz?
Aye.
Mrs. Gates?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBlanc Parks?
Aye.
Mrs. Wagner?
Aye.
Information items, or not, yes, information items, administrative reports. Mr. Green?
Yeah, a couple of things on the business report this month. County facility sales tax continues to be strong. It was $213,000, and remember that's from June. So this is actually the second highest amount that we've ever received, last month being the highest and this month being the second highest. As part of your report, I've traditionally given you what looks like this. It's a treasurer's report summary with bar graphs on it. One of the things that we're doing is we're trying to put together more definitive types of graphs and data that can be used in a more analytical perspective. So as part of your business report, you have this graph as well. This is also a fund to balance report, very similar. It's in a line format. A couple of the differences that this report does is, first of all, this is only for the operating expenses, operating funds. The Ed Fund, O&M, tort, transportation, working cash, and IMRF. It doesn't include inflated amounts for debt service that are building up, or health, life, safety, or for our capital account, which is basically county facility sales tax. The other thing that this document does is the green bar is our current year, but it also uses a projection model that projects out the remainder of the year for us. So it gives us the ability to watch and compare our overall balances compared to last year. And as you can see right now, there is a prediction that at some point in between, somewhere in the December, January range, we're going to actually go below what we had last year, and then has a prediction of where we will end the year. So again, for this report, it also gives us the ability to then monitor how things are going as differences occur versus what budgeted amounts are and what the projection is actually saying. So this is a tool that we'll be using as we also move forward.
Mark, can I ask a quick question on this? Just, I want to make sure I'm understanding it right. I get the columns at the bottom, the line there. Does that represent the sum of all accounts? Okay.
So again, just the operating accounts. So
Just
it doesn't include debt service, the capital account, and health, life, safety. So if you were to try to compare those numbers to the, for example, your treasurer's report, they wouldn't add up because it doesn't have all of them in it.
And why did you make the decision to only include these accounts?
This is how, the other ones would actually kind of distort the meaning. Because, for example, debt service just kind of grows and grows and grows and grows, and then you only spend it twice a year. Health, life, safety, it grows and grows and grows, and then, like, for example, basically what's in there, we'll start spending that again come the second half of the year, next summer, maybe your spring break, as we move forward on our 10-year health, life, safety.
Did you refer to these accounts as more operational?
These are the operational accounts that we're watching
on
a more closer basis. The last couple of pages of your business report, the first one looks like this. This is actually kind of a dashboard of Q1 of revenues. So what it gives you the ability to do is take a look at our revenues from a local, state, and federal level, and also kind of a breakdown comparison longitudinally over the last 3 years in coordination and with our overall budget as well. So you can kind of see where, looking at federal revenues, how those federal revenues are lagging behind. Well, one of the big reasons they are lagging behind is because last year at this time we were still receiving ESSER funding. For example, when you look down and you just kind of go through, you see like our taxes we've received a significant more of our taxes. Well, the reason is that's because the collection was a little bit different this year, and the distribution was a little bit different this year. So we've received more of our tax dollars to date as compared to previous years, what we normally would have received. The second one is the same graphs, the same information, only this is the expenses. So again, it gives you the ability to kind of compare what are our expenses for purchase services, salaries and benefits, and supplies and materials. So one of the things that's kind of telling for us is when we look at capital outlay for FY25, we see that we spent $1.6 million already at this point last year. Well, that was the CTE renovation that we were working on to complete. Whereas this year we've only spent $116,000, much smaller amounts. So we're able to compare things across the different years in a snapshot, collectively looking at, for example, salaries, benefits, and things like that. So kind of looking at it from a dashboard perspective and what we can kind of look at it and kind of start making some judgments. The last page is prior year, this year. So it's just the 2 years in a comparison model. And the graphs, again, kind of at the bottom, kind of as a representation of kind of where we are at, gives us quick visuals of how we're doing going forward. So these are some of the things that we'll be studying regularly and going through on a regular basis as we just continue to monitor how we're doing in comparison to our budget, in comparison to our fund balances, and how our expenses are lining up. I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, I'm sorry, I do have one more thing, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have at this point. Okay, so at your places, you have these two documents. A couple of months ago, you asked me to do some research on a solar vendor. This vendor has come forward as a likely option for us to move forward with for solar. It's the same company, the two packets just provide a little bit different information. This program has some differences compared to our previous one. For example, this vendor is offering two different models. One is a 7-year model and one is a 15-year model. The 7-year model offers us the ability to actually purchase the system at a fair market value of about $230,000, and they're offering us a 0% interest loan to pay that out over 10 years should we desire. In addition to that, the per kilowatt rate on the 7-year, which is 0.036 cents per kilowatt, actually does not escalate. So that is the amount that we will pay per kilowatt for the life of the PPA. So these are some nice benefits. We've already begun working with them on what a construction timeline would be. That construction timeline is about 12 months. So at this time next year, it is their prediction that they would actually be installing, should we choose to go forward with them. Just kind of a couple of comments. Given the One Big Beautiful Bill and some of the stipulations, we do have to act quickly on this if we so choose to move forward. Given that bill, there are requirements on their part to be able to take advantage of certain incentives and so forth that without those incentives makes this kind of void, let's just say. So we would need to act on a PPA next month in November. I do have their PPA. I do believe that it still needs a lot of work with our attorneys to make sure that all of the provisions and so forth in the contract are available to us appropriately. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. In this scenario, the next steps for us might be if you kind of like where this is going, we would continue to work with them on creating a finalized PPA, get that to you so you have an opportunity to review it prior to next month. But we would be asking for action at next month in order to meet some deadlines that need to be hit by December. As part of the process, we would also invite the vendor to the meeting next month to answer any questions and present. I would encourage you to take that, read through it, certainly send off any questions to Margot that then we can get answered for you, and we can move forward from that perspective.
Yeah, I guess for me, the big driver is going to be your level of comfort with this. You're the guy doing all the research on the ground. And if you, I saw some big numbers in there about savings over time and all of that, and that's kind of, this is what you've been talking about with thinking differently and protecting our energy costs and all that. But really looking for your guidance on.
Yeah, and as we move deeper into the PPA process, that'll give us a better understanding of some of the things that are in here. As far as an overall perspective, I would say that the vendor has been very attentive. We've met with the vendor, I've spoken with the vendor numerous times. The vendor has been on site to review, take a look at the things that we need. They've been responsive to our requests in relation to location arrays. and our general overall needs. They, for example, their response is don't put one here at the district office because there's no value in it. There's no value in it for them, there's no value in it for us because our energy needs. The same with the Dempsey location. The energy needs are so low, there's no real value in doing the project for either person on either side. Just as something that I feel that there is we're moving forward from a very, very honest perspective of where we're at and what our needs are and what we hope to accomplish with this.
So you need a consensus to move ahead tonight, though, on the PPA?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, we're not asking for you to take any levels of action. I mean, if you were sitting there all shaking your heads at me, then we would just walk away. It wouldn't be anything. But if you feel like it's something, a couple of months ago, you did say to me that you were still interested in this as potential opportunities, this is the one that we have. I would also say that not moving forward with this one we would be delaying any type of future solar action for years. And the reason is you basically, you would be looking for the solar industry to kind of reset. The One Big Beautiful Bill has created some very specific deadlines that you have to meet. If you're not comfortable moving quickly with those deadlines, then we need to have an open conversation about that.
Next month, you said there'll be someone either
I
on-site
can-
or
yes,
via Zoom.
I can bring them
to
in
answer.
as a Zoom meeting, or they are also willing to come in person. You'd be able to ask them any questions that you might have at that time.
I think from our discussion last time, there was enough interest to do that.
Okay.
Am I wrong? Okay, so I think
We will continue to move the information forward and get as much of that to you in a timely manner as we can and go from there and see where we end up.
Sounds good, thank you for pursuing that.
Any other administrative reports?
Report was Wednesday, that we're having a special event up at Jefferson coming up. And we are having our fall carnival. It's coming up on the 24th, which is next Friday, away from this coming Friday. You're all certainly welcome to stop by. We have various stations set up. We did it for the first year last year. We're looking forward to doing it again for the second year this year. So it was a fun time. It was very packed, lots of heavily attended parents, families, community members. They all just showed up and we let them in and they were there for an hour, so we're going to do it again this year. So
What time, Crystal?
5 to 6 at Jefferson's Gym next Friday, a week from this Friday, the 24th.
Thank you. Again, a wonderful way to get families into the school for a good reason, a positive reason.
Any other administrative updates? Last month, I provided you the delegate assembly packet. It's not some of your most exciting reading, but Linda is the delegate at the board conference coming up, and so this is an opportunity, if there's any particular strong for or against, to let us know and let her know what way she needs to cast her vote at Saturday conference. We're going to be looking just very quickly at the resolutions that are up for consideration. If you remember, the first one was about school bus safety funding. That was actually at the far back of the resolutions. And just a quick summary, in this last year, Senate Bill 191 was passed. That requires all newly acquired school buses to include lap and shoulder belts, but it provided no state appropriation to fund this. So it is an unfunded mandate. So they are bringing forth a resolution. This was the Sycamore School District that brought this forward, that said the current vendor quotes show that these lap and shoulder belts run anywhere between $7,000 and $18,000 per bus. And again, unfunded mandate. And it's providing a disproportionate burden on smaller school districts especially. I can't imagine all school districts, depending on how many buses you have or don't have. And that those who are rural or have low EAV districts, and they may begin to delay the replacement of buses, which could be a safety hazard. And smaller districts are going to be forced to divert limited funds over from other funds to make sure that this transportation fund is taken care of. And so their proposal is basically to start a grant-based program that districts can apply for, that's going to provide equity, so it shows that those with the most needs would be helped first. Of fiscal responsibility, that local cost participation and debt limit flexibility, will be allowed so that districts can afford to do this. And then, of course, finally, the safety factor. They want to make sure that if buses need to be replaced, they are being held because they'll have to adhere to this new standard of having the lap and shoulder belt. So, again, they want to provide something for districts to get a funding source to balance this new safety requirement with local needs. This would be, and even though, I should say, this would be, the districts are going to absorb the cost, even if this is like our district where we contract our services. There's certainly going to be a passing along of the increase, even with contract services like we have, to those that contract. So, even for us, and we know that, we were able, due to a decrease in enrollment, to bring down our routes for cost savings, $7,000 to $18,000 a bus, depending on how many passenger bus it is. That's a huge increase. So, thoughts on this resolution of let's try to get a grant funding mechanism available if they can appropriate the funds at the state level. Doesn't mean they will, but they're at least trying to find a way to help districts defray costs so there isn't a delay in buying new buses, or those that it'll have the biggest impact on will have a chance at the grants first.
This is a resolute, we want there to be grants. And who's going to pay for the grants? Where's the money?
Right, where's that money coming from?
They're going to reduce your transportation mandate in Maine.
They usually rob Peter to pay Paul, to be quite frank.
So as you know, as part of our transportation funding, we get mandated categorical payments, 4 of them a year. We get them for things like transportation is one, but we also get them for some special ed things and a variety of other things. They've been decreasing those. So, okay, everybody wants grants. Well, what are they going to do? They're going to take it from one bucket and put it in another.
And they as the state, of course.
Yeah, they as the state. Okay. So now, again, I'm speculating.
We would assume that's what we've seen as a past practice.
Yeah. We've seen that many times in a variety of different things.
Yeah.
In addition to that, from a grant perspective, they can always stop funding the grants. I'll give you an example. These small maintenance project grants that we've used the last decade, 2 decades, I don't even know how long. They're only funded for 2 more years. They were funded through a state bond issuance, if I'm not mistaken. And that bond issuance, the money's gone at the end of next year. So if they choose not to issue those bonds, that revenue stream for that is gone. They are opening them up again this year. They open tomorrow, actually. But again, it would be the same type, my concern is always, it's the same type of thing. They're just going to move them around the buckets and,
There's no net.
I'm not saying that the seatbelts aren't good, that's a good thing, of course, right? Nobody's gonna argue that's a bad thing.
There is not any new allocation at the state level to
They're not
cover
printing
this.
money, they're not,
So I think that's what the resolution is about, is here's another unfunded mandate, and they're trying to come up with a solution.
sounds like the
Point that out.
solution wouldn't really be a solution anyhow, it's just lowering our payments.
It's just a voice, it's, I think, a voice from districts saying, how do
The
we
bill
do
was-
this? Yeah, how do we do this?
The
Yeah.
bill was passed.
Yeah, it's done.
So
It's already-
like, the bill to have the seatbelts was passed.
The cost is coming.
The cost comes later. There was no discussion of how it would get paid for, they just passed the bill. Now, this resolution at III is about getting boards together to have a voice to say, let's make sure that if you're giving us this, we fund it.
So it is
Recommended
to adopt, so what we're asking you as board members is if you agree with that or don't.
Are there downsides to what reasons would people not want to agree with that? Seems like kind of a no-brainer, right? But maybe I'm missing something.
I don't know why, except there's no guarantee of a grant.
Well, I mean, if you really wanted to,
But that's not a good reason to
like,
say no.
and I don't know what this looks like, if you get to stand up and yell out your ideas or what you get to do, but it would be different if they said, okay, we're gonna hold your mandated categorical hold harmless for 5 years or 10 years, and your minimum number isn't gonna go down. And then, okay, and now we're gonna fund this on top of that. Part of it is how do we protect the mandated categoricals and have them, which have been declining, how do we protect them and get them to grow again? So sitting at that table, but that would be, as a district, what you might want to think about and what you might want to say. You certainly don't want to deny getting the funding. But what are the parameters by which they're going to implement that?
What kind of resolution could we write for next year?
Right.
This is the IASB, who has delegates from every district using their voice to let the legislature know, yes, this is a good thing, but we wish there was another funding stream, and hopefully, like you said, will they look for that, will they not? It's passed, it's coming one way or another. Hopefully, it's a message to legislators when they go back in sessions and that of how are we gonna fund this, what does this look like? And right now, while no new revenue streams, do they wanna go back and look for an alternate way perhaps to pay for it?
And I'll bring back, what discussion entails. That's what they'll discuss it, and
So you can't really submit a written statement, but
no.
Mark, if you wanted to come up with a statement and you felt okay presenting that, and that's kind of how that works at the delegation is, at the assembly, is there's just hundreds of people, people there, and you can get up and go to the microphone and stand in your line and make your statement.
So, yeah, I could do that.
I'd be happy to write you something, if you want to get in line and say that.
Sure, if you
I'd be
write
happy
something
to.
up about
I can do it.
I'm sure there's-
guaranteeing that
I'm sure
money
there's
from our
others that are
transportation isn't,
I can share that with everybody in the
Just like
newsletter
that.
as well.
right, sure.
That's really the only way at this point that we get our voice heard, but even if they call though, she may or may not get to voice that, but that's kind of a crapshoot.
Right.
But at least it's there if she gets up to the microphone.
So we're fine going with the do adopt,
And yeah, because I don't think you can do resolution, actually another resolution on the spot. It's like too late. but we can, and it might encourage other districts to come up with a resolution for next year, which could happen too. That might be stated in a different way. Thanks, Mark. All right.
The second set, I'm gonna kind of all lump together.
Right.
I can go by one, but essentially, the next 10 resolutions have to do with resolutions in regard to memberships and voting. And if you read through each one of them, basically, they are making sure that we've got equality, basically that follows the IASB tenets of having someone, president and vice president and voting procedures and who can be members and how do elections go. The wordings that were changed are all reflecting current practice that's being done, so it was a realignment of the language to make sure that it follows what we're currently doing in practice and making sure that the language follows that. And it was done to make sure that there was clarity about the process. All 10 of them were a recommendation to adopt. I personally didn't see anything out of line in those 10. Like I said, it was a lot of the language is making sure that the language matches the current practice. I don't know if anybody else saw anything differently. All 10 were recommended to adopt. And there was a lot of strikeout words that are no longer and then new words that were added in red, so.
Biggest one I saw was term.
Yes.
That was, I think, the last time I was on the delegate assembly, it was 1-year terms, and there was concern of 1-year terms weren't effective, so they went to a 2-year term in this.
That matches what you guys have, because they say it allows your president, your vice president time. Hopefully you've got, someone in training coming up. And usually every 2 years with elections, there's a changeover. So it now matches what goes on at the local level, also at the state level.
Yeah, I just saw some duplicate language or a reduction, a simplifying the language in some of these, and changes that might have happened during COVID that we did, and they're just, like you said, now they're putting the language in to cover that as far as voting and so on.
Right, because right now one of the first ones was about the possibility to electronically vote. And while not in there yet, that's something that could happen in the future if there was some other sort of inability to get the entire groups together. You can still have a vote and keep things moving forward without having to have people physically present on site, so.
And there are districts that travel a long way in southern Illinois, and this comes up all the time, that they want to vote, they want to participate, they can't always make the trip. So,
is there any reason why we don't follow the recommendation to adopt according to the board?
And those are just constitutional amendments, is what those 10 are, so. All right.
All right, so next month where you're headed.
It'll be Saturday morning.
All right. We've had quite a few committee reports and some coming up in the next couple of weeks. So, we just had DESPA last night.
They have several trainings coming up that they're looking forward to, and there really wasn't a lot of issues that they were brought up. It was a very quick meeting.
We had DEA Professional Relation Committee meeting too. They talked about some of the solutions or attempts at solutions assisting the pre-K program. And I think, Margo, you talked about volunteers in the pathway program, education pathway program at the high school, and Tri-County, trying to get more bodies to help with these little ones getting on and off the bus and doing whatever they are allowed to do that might help. The parent coordinator is moving back to the Y, so that's a position that's open. And really, it's a pretty big part of this program, so we talked about that. $20 to $21 an hour, and works with parents and families. Oh, and Florissa has offered to do potty training classes.
They've done it for us before, and we actually have 2 Florissa folks on site, Corey Ackman and Amy Boss, and they've done these before, since this seems to be a big concern. And I've talked to Mrs. Glenn and Ms. Buss about having it not only for pre-K, but for other grade levels, that potty training, it can be very difficult for some parents, but what are some tips, tricks, and strategies? And they've even utilized local pediatricians in their presentation to figure out things to help parents.
There was talk about a recycling program at Jefferson. She's still back there. And that it helps build culture within the building. And I thought that was a really good idea, not just the recycling part of it, but the culture that these kids have in actually doing a job and doing it together. And I don't know, is it just one class, or who really, did they say who really does that?
And what one again?
Jefferson
The
recycling program.
Oh, this is your self-contained, right?
Yeah, these are my self-contained kiddos, we have 7 in that class, and they are going around, they're delivering our meals at the end of the week for our kiddos that get those for weekends. They're also doing the recycling that starts where they go around, they have a recycling bin, and they're collecting it all, delivering lunch tickets, so it's a way we're getting the kiddos involved. It was spearheaded by the speech pathologist Darian Thorpe, and then Liz Spalding and her paras. So the 6 and 7 instructional kids are just, they're loving it. They're getting to
Yeah,
help the
that's
building,
what-
and it's very, it's a job that they are enjoying, and they're doing a nice job doing, so.
Mhm. That was well reported out.
Yeah.
A couple of paras are coming or are advertised for Madison, is that correct?
We have a number of openings throughout the
Openings.
district
I mean,
for parents.
these are follow-ups from problems that were brought up at the last meeting, so then at this meeting, we tried to talk about some of the solutions that are being worked on. At Dempsey School, did they ask for the half-day? It was hard on them, conference schedule was hard on their kids this time, because the half-day and conference week and then Columbus Day, but I think it was explained to that rep why it had to be done that way, or it's something that I don't think that rep knew that the calendar is done. A lot of it is started at that DEA meeting.
Yep, the first look will be at our November meeting of the 26-27 calendar. Because hopefully we usually get that to the board December for approval or no later than January. So we have time to plan, our parents and families have time to plan, and usually districts are already on this, so.
That their input was important, so she was glad to know that, she could espouse some opinions at that meeting. RMS talked about the teaming model and science and social studies needing co-taught classes, wishing for co-taught classes, right? For science and social studies, if I got that right.
Right, a lot of their kiddos, with their teams that they've built, they have co-taught classes, but according to Mrs. Abel, they were finding that some kids had even greater needs due to reading and comprehension and things. So they were working on creating a more small pull-out class to meet the kids' needs.
Yes.
Kind of tweaking that tuning model.
Yeah.
That loops through grade levels that we can pull kids into
Okay.
better support.
Yeah, so they were glad to be talking about that, kind of tweaking that teaming model, because there's so much reading involved in the science and social studies class. At DHS, they talked about a short turnaround from the end of training and getting back for conferences, but that was just a communication. That was taken care of, communication, not a problem, but something that was taken care of right there at the meeting. And I was excited about the fire starters that are being sold. What class again does that?
That's our life skills class at the high school, that they create,
They use recycling paper.
Yep, and they create bricks to help start fires in fireplaces, and they even have smaller ones, using toilet paper rolls and recycling paper, and they started this last year, and it was a huge success, and they're continuing this year.
So will they bring some sheets, order sheets or something? And leave them at the central
I've been
office?
checking to get a couple of samples for our November meeting,
Okay,
so.
because they're
no
good
doubt.
Christmas presents, they say.
Yes.
Okay, always like that, and they're real excited about this project of making something and selling it, and, okay, that's about it. Are there any other committee
Yeah,
meetings?
community engagement, we're like, used to be, we were a few, the day before board meetings, but now we're the week after. So I have to turn my memory back almost a full month now. But our current way we're engaging the community is another survey that we are putting out to help, again, identify what needs exist out there in the community. And you may have seen it, it went out, and we should have the results back here soon. And we'll be reviewing that at our meeting here next week and making our decisions about what to do next. That's kind of
Great. Very good. Superintendent's report.
We have, the three of us actually went on virtual. There was the Northwest Division highlight meeting. I was glad to hear that it wasn't just me that was having a hard time hearing.
Yeah,
We finally got on to the
technical
meeting, which was
difficulties.
difficult to get into, but finally got on. We had the State Superintendent of Education that was talking to the Northwest Division, and Linda, do you want to share takeaway?
He talked about evidence-based funding and how it's helped bring our state up as far as the state funding. And he talked about the mental health screener. We would be the first state to use this. He described it as like any other screener we use for eyes or teeth, and that ISB will be giving resources then for mental health screening. We're still waiting to hear more about that. CTE needs more funding. He had mentioned that somewhere in there. Somebody asked about CTE funding, and he said, of course, we need more funding for CTE. Someone asked about the budget in light of federal cuts, and he said this year pretty much is already done, but the future is uncertain. But because most of the funding had been approved last year for this year, and that's about all. It was very difficult to hear him.
Yeah.
So
I was really proud of us as a district on one thing when they were talking about the need for more CTE, the career technical education. If you remember, we really did try to follow the recommendations with our ESSER funds, and that was not to invest in people that you couldn't keep long term. And if you all remember, we did a major renovation in our CTE area at the high school. Not only bringing certain things up to code, but we brought in plasma cutters and different things that were going to be a precursor to kids who wanted to go to Whiteside then during their junior and senior year, and then even onto the multi-craft program that is out at Sauk. And so, you know, I am glad that's an area we focused on and we knew it was a big draw for kids, and it continues to, you know, hopefully at our end expand. So we took that money when we had it and knew an area that we needed to grow, both those that were just going to stay with us and those that saw a future in it. So I was kind of glad that, yep, we need to expand it, but we had already begun that at our level.
And that contributes to the manufacturing pathway?
Yes.
That we have now,
Yes.
the endorsement.
Yes.
Good.
So.
And that's something since we first ran for school board, it's something we've been talking about and that businesses around here have been asking for. So, good.
And believe it or not, we have had 0 FOIA requests since the last meeting. Write that in your diary. It doesn't happen very often, so. Is there any need to go in, we don't have a huge personnel page this month. Is there any need to go into executive session, or can we do that and then go into executive session where there will be no action coming out tonight?
But I think on your report, did you talk about LCSEA?
That's going to be next month.
Oh, okay.
Yep, we weren't ready this month.
Oh, you pulled that out of there. All right. Okay, I will read the personnel page, which is very short this month, and then ask for a motion in a second. New hires: Anna Siratsinka, paraprofessional at Jefferson, effective October 16, 2025. Resignations: Elise Drowns, custodian at DHS, effective October 3rd, 2025. Brianna Grove, pre-K for all parent coordinator, effective October 17th, 2025. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Fritz?
Aye.
Mrs. Gates?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBlanc Parks?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Aye.
Mrs. Whitner?
Aye. We recommend closed session for the purpose of discussing the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee to determine its validity, the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, and student disciplinary cases. Do I have a motion to adjourn to closed session?
So moved.
7:28.
Roll call.
Mr. Fritz?
Aye.
Mrs. Gates?
Aye.
Mrs. LeBlanc Parks?
Aye.
Mr. Wadsworth?
Aye.
Mr. Rogers?
Aye.
Mrs. Whitner?
Aye.